Good evening, Internet World and Universe. This is OR Ash, and welcome back to the Drawing Matrix. Thought I'd make one more appearance before plunging back into the void. Please watch and beyond. We are back once again to continue our Ultimates Overhauled series. Last time, we rounded off the titular Ultimate Alien series playlist, so now we're moving past the last 3 eras of Ben 10 and on to the 4th iteration, Omniverse. Today, we will be covering Crashhopper, Weevil, Bloxx, Astrodactyl, and redesigning Ultimate Gravattack. It's been a while since I've done an actual Ultimate redesign. Let's get cooking!
As for my name, how about Crashhopper?
Kicking us off today, we have the bouncing buggy boy, Crashhopper. Crashhopper is such a fun alien and what I think is the perfect example of the return to a more simplistic species concept that Omniverse tried to do at first. With the last UA set, my biggest gripe with both the designs and power sets is that they were way too simple, making for a feeling of redundancy and questioning as to why they were made at all. Crashhopper, however, is basic as hell, yet doesn't feel redundant or boring. Bugman Bounce? He bounce real good, is one of my favorite Omniverse boys. For this take on his ultimate, I wanted to make his evolution a lot more tactically inclined towards his species predator, Mucilator. Or Mucilator. I'm not sure exactly how you're supposed to pronounce it, I don't think they say it in the show. First, I'm adding an additional set of his exposed, high-tension tendons onto his arms and legs. This, of course, boosts his jumping power, but also spring-loads his punches and makes him able to seemingly double jump by kicking so fast in the air that he can ride up the pressure created by his kick, seemingly defying physics thanks to sci-fi jargon. Another reason I have this is to help him not plunge face first into Mucilator's goo traps. He can cross his limbs with these tendons stretched out and use them like a sail, slowing his descent and riding the wind away from the sticky blobulous boy.
But Ash, can't Mucilator just move under him again, wherever he's floating to?
Thanks for the segue. To combat that obvious issue, I am enlarging his abdomen. 1, to increase the amount of damage he deals throwing it back, and 2, making it a giant bioluminescent bulb that he can use to flashbang Mucilator. You know, kind of like a lightning bug, blinking out his vision so that he can't see where he's floating away to. Also because in a fight, being able to blind someone so you can then proceed to kick them 30 feet away sounds pretty effective. Anyway, to recap, as far as his new abilities, he has more of those stretchy tendons for double jumping, spring-loaded punches, and to use as sails to ride the wind. As far as his trade-offs, he simply can't walk anywhere anymore. His steps are so damn bouncy now, he immediately launches dozens of feet up into the air. Other than that, may I present my first take on an ultimate Crashhopper that I dub Crash Bang.
Ultimate Crashhopper!
Now, the last 2 episodes, I've slightly changed my method of designing for this series. Usually I'll come up with the power concept first and then focus the design to fit that. What I've been doing the last 2 episodes instead has been sketching up 5 to 6 different designs purely for the visual aesthetic of the alien, and then coming up with their powers and tweaking it accordingly. Now, I preface this because this take on Ultimate Crashhopper exists only because I like the design and really wanted it in this video, even though I don't think anyone will actually like it. I've just given you more work to do, Rob. I'm so sorry. For this take, I am kicking up his kicking power by replacing his arms with extra legs. His arms weren't really contributing to his combat anyway, so the UES and I taketh away. Should I get a bucket for these too? Though he is now technically a quadruped, I'm still saying that he has enough dexterity enough to use his feet like hands. You know, to write, or play guitar, or even for grabbing stuff. Which leads into his new ability, Ricochet Generation, or Bouncy Ball Generation. I imagine that if I took the high-tension tendons from his legs and wrapped them up into a ball, it'd be pretty damn bouncy, and that's essentially the gist with his new power. The now rounded end of his abdomen is also made of these tendons and can be popped off as a projectile. Because of what they're made of, these bouncy balls will just keep ricocheting off of stuff, building up speed and power until they eventually can't be stopped. I imagine you could still take down a Mucilator with some of these given enough prep bouncing. It'd slam straight through him like cannonbolt through the insides of the tick. Anyway, to recap, for his new abilities, he gets Bouncy Ball Generation. As far as his trade-offs, he loses his arms for extra legs. And I lose some of my bucket again. But I'm getting more this episode, so I'm not worried. Other than that, may I present my second take on an ultimate Crashhopper that I dub Pop-Off.
Ultimate Crashhopper! Energy whippy deals too!
Next up, we have the dino that walks like a man but squawks like a bird, Astrodactyl. Now, I would like to preface that I am an advocate that every alien is cool in their own way and should not have to serve any specific reason for them to exist. But dude, I fucking hate Astrodactyl. He has wings but uses a jetpack to fly, his powers are the default generic green energy, and his voice is just the worst in the entire franchise.
I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk, I hate the way that you dress.
I get what they were going for, but it's annoying as hell. For his ultimate, I honestly was grasping at straws. No matter what idea, theme, or aesthetic I tried, I was not feeling it. Even my redesign angle of thought didn't work for this guy. So after beating my head against my desk for like 2 days, I just decided to embrace the hate.
Let the hate flow through you.
My vibe towards Astrodactyl is hateful, so maybe adding in other elements of things that I hate to draw will vibe together with him. With that, I am making him extremely mechanical. That's right, I'm going Dinobanoid on his ass. So now he can retract his head and arms to a more streamlined form to fly even faster. To upgrade his lasers and whips, I am simply making them hard light constructs. He can form his energy into constructs of various sizes and shapes, making for more weapon forms, and he even uses them to form his wings. Also, for some sci-fi jargon, his skeleton is now made of the same hard light stuff, so that's how he can turtle mode his limbs. It makes sense. As much as I hated working on this guy, I gotta say I am actually kind of proud of how he turned out. I'm not, actually. No, I fucking hate him. Anyway, to recap, for his new abilities, he can streamline his body by retracting his extremities, and he can form hard light energy constructs of various forms. As far as his trade-offs, I need a snack after dealing with him. Other than that, may I present my take on an ultimate Astrodactyl that I dub Backfire.
Ultimate Astrodactyl! Something going for me other than the power of cuteness.
Next up on the plate, we have the itsy bitsy barfing bug, Ball Weevil. Now, Ball Weevil is very hit or miss with most fans. Personally, I love the little dude. He's what I wish Edel was supposed to be originally. You take Upchuck's powers and add on a dung beetle aesthetic, and bam, you got a puke-themed Katamari Damacy. But aside from bile bowling, Ball Weevil's main strategy in most fights is kind of just running away, so for this take on his ultimate, I want to make him a bit more brawly. First off, I am souping up his horns to be prehensile blade-like mandibles so that he can fight more directly. His base form seems pretty quick and agile already, so giving him essentially what is a battle axe on his forehead makes me think he can do some serious up-close damage. This idea stemmed from the anatomy of the real-life giraffe Weevil, look at him, it's adorable, and the overall design scheme of the mantises in Hollow Knight. On the note of his speed, I'm also adding a segment to his body to increase maneuverability. And lastly, I am moving his bile generation up to his horn mandibles and making it just 2 big bile pouches on the insides of the blades, so that he can use them as kind of an explosive add-on to his more melee fighting style, and bubbling the bile between the horns rapidly could make for a rapid-fire Ralph railgun. Who's Ralph? It's another word for puke. To recap, for his new abilities, he is now faster and more agile with a segmented body, he's equipped with a new set of explosive and sharp horns, and he can generate bile faster than ever. As far as his trade-offs, technically I got rid of his mouth. Other than that, may I present my first take on an ultimate Ball Weevil that I dub Railgut.
Ultimate Ball Weevil.
Next up, we have another take on the pint-sized puke bowler, Ball Weevil. For this take, we are letting him cook. Literally. You remember that one time that he got stuck in his own bile? Well, I imagine that happening to this guy in the UES, and the gummy gastrobile would stew and digest his body over time. This would push his hard armor to its surface and merge with his innards, stretching his nervous system out throughout it and giving him the ability to manipulate the bile like stretchy limbs, using them to pull in materials into his now swollen bile body, making it increase in size as he eats.
But Ash, isn't that just your ultimate Goops power?
Become one with this stew.
Anyway, to recap, as far as his new abilities, he gets a new stretchy-retchy body and can increase his size by eating. As far as his trade-offs, he gets a bit Alphonse Elric, losing his main body, but he gets to keep the cool armor bits. Other than that, may I present my second take on an Ultimate Ball Weevil that I dub Buggernaut.
Ultimate Ball Weevil.
Next up, we are doing one more take on the teeny tiny intestinal insect, Ball Weevil. Look, I like the funny bug, okay? Sue me. This is a quick one. This is essentially the same setup as the last one. The gastro goo becomes part of his external areas, but this one's powers are a bit different. Firstly, I am making him hella tanky, beefing up his size and armor density. Trying to squash this bug will be like trying to crush a car with your foot. Along with the defense increase, we are also making his horns prehensile so that he can fight or launch things with ease, increasing his fight capabilities. And lastly, his new main ability, Gut Spawn. Taking inspiration from the glowing womb charm from Hollow Knight, I know I bring the game up a lot in this series, I just love it so much. I'm sorry. Now, when this boy makes bile balls, they have an independent mind of their own. He can even make a bunch of them swarm at an enemy from all different directions before detonating the cute little clots. Anyway, to recap, for his new abilities, he is now 5 times his original size with 5 times the muscle, his horns are stronger and prehensile, and he can generate gut spawn to remotely attack things. They can also grow just like his previous gastro balls, I didn't mention it till now. As far as his trade-offs, he loses his mouth, and he is not as speedy and nimble as he once was. Other than that, may I present my third take on an Ultimate Ball Weevil that I dub Spawntourage.
Ultimate Ball Weevil.
Hey folks, just want to take a few seconds for you to stay in the loop. Tired of waiting so long for our videos? Well, you can help speed up the process. You can join either our Patreon or YouTube membership down below to help us make more Ben 10 breakdowns, episodes of And Beyond, and 5-Whale the Motion Comic, along with everything else we got cooking. Rewards include shoutouts, special channels and badges, exclusive live streams, my Making of Video Diary series, a secret Minecraft server, access to our project files, and more. You can also come hang out with me over on Twitch, where I draw commissions and interact with the community. And if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like and help us feed the unyielding, relentless bloodlust known as the YouTube algorithm. Now, back to the video.
You're a segmentisapian. Is that what I am?
Next up, we have the precision-molded Lego gorilla, Bloxx.
It's finally time for this one, huh? Alright, let's get this over with.
Now, Bloxx is kind of an interesting alien. His species camouflage by building themselves into non-attention-seeking shapes and structures. Honestly, it's a really clever idea.
Yeah, sure. Bright primary colors are totally not attention-seeking.
From this, he can generate more blocks to build structures for offense and defense.
Structures that constantly break and cause Ben immense pain.
My favorite bit is when enemies step on the blocks and get hurt because they're supposed to be like Legos.
Oh, come on, dude. This is so dumb. Why is he Legos?
Why are you Legos?
What? What?
For my take on his ultimate, I am simply pushing his regular abilities to a more extreme. He can now create blocks that mimic the materials of his surroundings, making it so that his camouflage is a lot more effective. Along with this, he can make blocks of various sizes so that he can make even more detailed decoy structures. Lastly, he can actually reattach the blocks after they are knocked off of him. I've never understood why that wasn't already a thing in his base form.
Yeah, that is a little weird, because that's like the whole point of Legos, right?
Anyway, to recap, for his new abilities, he can mimic materials, make blocks of different sizes, and reattach his blocks. As far as his trade-offs, I'm saying that he no longer has a base form to return to. He's just kind of a forever changing nebulous mass of blocks. Like, if he goes unconscious, he just kind of falls apart. Other than that, may I present my take on an ultimate Bloxx that I dub Master Build.
Dude, do you have any idea how many G's I'm throwing at you?
Last up today, we have the alien that's so attractive he has his own damn orbit, Gravattack. Now, to start, the original Ultimate Gravattack is already perfect. Like, legitimately, I love this one. He already follows the design rules that I use for this series. His colors change from shades of brown to shades of red. I know it's because it's an albedo variant, but it still counts. And he has a trade-off. He gains the additional planet heads, and in turn, loses the ability to transform from biped to ball, which you know what that means. Now, granted, I am still going to be tweaking him just a bit. For one, I want to add a bit of a black hole visual inspiration, just because it feels like it's a natural step up for the gravity motif. Plus, the base form Gravattack has been shown to be able to generate black holes, so the Ultimate, with time in the UES, should be able to control them. 2, I want to give him 2 new abilities. The first is Mass Packing. Basically, the little planet heads can assimilate material into their mass, making them larger and maybe even duplicable of themselves. Duplicatable. They can mitosis, okay? The second ability is the terrifying concept of spaghettification. Pretty much, he has such fine gravity control that he can pull materials towards himself at the cellular level, stretching them out into long strands like spaghetti, which this is a real-life thing that happens around black holes. It's terrifying. They can then be slurped up into his central black hole core, never to be seen again. And I'm not saying this, he can like store stuff in there and then pull them back out. Once it's in there, it is destroyed and gone. Lastly, I'm changing his colors up just a little bit. I want each planetoid of his body to be a different color so that it kind of pulls more akin to the solar system aesthetic they're going for. Plus, they pack on different materials, so being different colors kind of makes sense. Anyway, to recap, as far as his new abilities, he can generate little planetoid minions that they themselves can increase in mass and divide, and he can spaghettify stuff. And as far as his trade-offs, well, I'm gonna need a bigger bucket. Other than that, may I present my take on a redesign of Ultimate Gravattack that I dub Packed Mass.
Ultimate Gravattack!
And that is it for today. Omniverse is officially kicked off, and we now only have like 2 episodes left of this series. I am almost free. Oh, it feels like I've been stuck in the UES for how long getting through these is taking. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of these Omniverse Ultimates in the comments below. I love hearing feedback. If you want to help support us, consider joining our Patreon and YouTube memberships, and my socials, where I'll be posting the albedo edits for these boys sometime after this video goes live. As always, I am OR Ash, and I'm surviving. Are you? Peace.
Of custom LEGO minifigures of 8-10 characters, including myself, created by one Commissioner Jack Locusti.
I couldn't tell you.
Where's Jack?
Look, he's got the thing on his head and the voice. He's doing a voice. I couldn't tell.